It does preempt Champagne with this kind of concern that the other person might find out, you know, who I really am. Who
Yeah,
the other
and also
person
kind of connects with I'll Make You Want Me too, of
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not good in relationships. I'm manipulative in relationships.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take everything from you and then I'll dip out.
Yeah, and then
kind
why
of
can't you
situation.
see this?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so obviously this.
Yeah.
Like, how do you
Yeah.
not see this?
Yeah.
Is a lyric in the song.
Yeah.
Why can't you see this?
Yeah.
Writing this song is something that you did along the journey where there are also the songs where we're celebrating trust and love.
Mm-hmm.
And to you, presumably, it's not a non-essential part of that journey.
Yeah. It might be like a hard part, but it is a essential part. And also I think in the first verse, there's a line about like hiding my face under Vaseline so the light reflects
Yes.
off me. And I think also like kind of in line with like when I'm like deep in a depressive episode, like I can see that there's good things out there. Like there's friends and community and other people, but I can't kind of, it's like more comfortable and safer feeling, or it takes too much energy to kind of break through that, and it's easier to just hide and isolate in like a depression cave instead.
Yeah. So it preempts Swear to God, where we kind of retreat to that cave, and then when the sun comes, it's burning my eyes. Then the sun came this morning, burning my eyes. So you already highlighted the significance of light and dark as themes. There's something scary about the light.
Yeah.
As much as we want at one moment someone else to be the neon light that doesn't go out, but we know it's going to go out.
And also neon lights are they're only visible in nighttime, like in darkness as well. It's not
Right.
like sunshine or like bright lights. It's like you can really only see neon when it's dark outside.
But we can empathize with kind of the part of us that finds the neon light less scary and daunting than the sun.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
sun burns our eyes.
Yeah.
So, and that's happening in Swear to God. The very end of Swear to God is, I think, simultaneously the cleverest, the saddest, lyrically the cleverest and the saddest moment. Promise you I'm not trying to die, cross my heart, hope to die. Again, we have this cognitive dissonance. So we've been with this cognitive dissonance of, yes, cross my heart, hope to die, meaning, you know, I'm telling the truth, this is authentic, I will be okay. United, but there's still, of course, lingering, in that same lyric, the hope to die is there too. It makes sense to put these two songs together, and they are the darkest. What do you have any thoughts on the pairing of the songs, on how we're in kind of, how the territory that we're in Swear to God is perhaps different from Trash Baby?
Yeah. I think it totally makes sense that they go together. Both of the songs are very, again, kind of isolated, or like, if we're doing the play thing, like kind of monologues of like, this is who I am, and like in Trash Baby, and also like, yeah, this is where I'm at right now in Swear to God. But it's also trying to convince another person, like, I'm gonna be okay, like, don't worry about me, like, while at the same time just like, you know, actively trying to not kill myself every day.
Yeah.
And this song is still kind of like, it's a hard one to like listen to and a hard one to sing live sometimes, because that, even on like daily medication and things like that with major depressive disorder, like I know that that's always there. And like, I've learned that like, that's just always gonna be a part of who I am, and not letting it define me or like kind of take over my life, and keep doing the steps to make sure it doesn't to like minimize the amount of depressive episodes I have. But that feels, and that felt like such a huge part of my life for a while, with like trying, like just feeling so just so heavy and so deeply sad all the time, and still trying to like go to work and be like, I'm cool, I'm fine, I'm okay. Like, don't worry about me. Like, definitely don't ask me how I'm doing. And so that the line, swear to God I'm okay, promise you that I'm doing just fine or whatever, that I will be just fine, is both kind of that conversation with other people, and also telling myself like, okay, you've been through this before, like you're gonna get through the other side eventually. Like, based on experience, like this isn't gonna last forever, this feeling. This depressive episode will end at some point.
Yes.
But also like feeling that like every second of every day is like, is this ever gonna end? And like, am I actually okay? And like, also the promise of like the last verse, like, promise you I'm not trying to die, cross my heart, hope to die, is like, okay, like I can promise you I'm not trying to die, but at the same time that promise, if it doesn't come true, will still come true. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, because the promise is like, cross my heart, hope to die. So it's like either way, like clearly was wanting to die at that point.
Yeah, ending with that cognitive dissonance and not resolving it.
Yeah.
I was saying about the dark humor, but it's not a joke.
Yeah.
And I think it's so powerful and important that this song like gets us to that discomforting place and just leaves us there. And I think it's important because you were just talking about this kind of pressure. We've been talking about shame and wanting to hide aspects of ourselves. And in our culture as it is, although there's some transformation, something that there's a lot of shame around is having an issue, a mental health issue that one is in the process of struggling with. There's this pressure to internally and externally to present, I'm okay, or at least I will be okay, and have that be the message. Going back to the belief system or the feeling, like often the belief system and our beliefs about what's good and what's bad and what's toxic and what's socially acceptable, like that belief system can become the thing that gets in the way of going to the place where we're befriending the demon here, we're being with the demon. Like it can stop us going there because that's not socially acceptable.
Yeah.
To not be okay.
Yeah.
And this song is inviting us.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And here's this, I'm sharing, I'm speaking from that tension, and I'm not resolving that cognitive dissonance. And if we stay with the cognitive dissonance long enough, it kind of becomes paradox, I think. And then paradox transmutes and transforms. You know, if you can't just, it gets boring for the demon even, just to, to just be like, you know, if you're just being with the demon and not getting terrified, not running from it, then like that story needs to develop because it's just boring even for the demon.
Yeah.
Trust no man and I love you are really interesting too. In terms of the evolution, they're the only two that we haven't talked about yet, because then we have champagne and therapy between them. Trust no man. I really love the, this is obviously very keyboard centric, and I love the simplicity and the vulnerability of that kind of the pulsing keyboard. Of course, I have some lyrics and some thoughts about this song, but what are your thoughts before I bring anything in? Perhaps beginning with how it sounds, the fact that it is kind of stripped down, and it is a song that has clearly, the band comes in but your keys remain the central voice sonically.
Yeah.
Maybe beginning by kind of honoring that and any other thoughts that you have about this, which was the single as well.
Yeah. I think that kind of just repeating keyboard line or like riff or rhythm feels kind of like a march to me of while this song like, yeah, it kind of does like strip down and gets dark and then kind of pops back up. Like a lot dynamically is kind of happening in this song, but that keyboard line just stays consistent throughout the whole thing. And yeah, I think everyone has trust issues. A lot of people have like trauma stuff, and I think it's very relatable that a lot of people don't trust a lot of men.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, with good reason.
Yeah. And so this kind of feels like an anthem, but also obviously you have to trust people at some point. You have to figure out who is okay to trust and like learn how to trust them. And
which aspects of oneself to trust as well.
Exactly.
Back to Act 1, Scene 1, and there being all of these different feelings and thoughts, and your decision to be oneself through kind of honoring and feeding the relationship with certain parts of oneself.
Yes, exactly. And
that's trust too.
Yeah, exactly. And also like, it says trust no man, but which can also like refer specifically to like a gender, but also like no one, because like in old books and stuff, it refers to like all humans as all of mankind.
Yeah.
You know, so kind of acknowledging like, oh, I shouldn't just hate all men with a blanket statement, because like we all have those traits within us. Like we all have both good and bad in us, and I believe that we mostly have good. And while the whole chorus and anthem is like, I trust no man, I trust no one, it feels kind of empowering to me as well. Of kind of starting to be like, I can trust myself to know that I shouldn't trust anybody.
I feel this, I believe this.
Yeah.
It's a statement where you can say, I meant all I said.
Yes, yeah. And like kind of going back to like, what do I believe? Like at this point, like I believe I trust no one.
Yeah.
And feeling empowered by that. And it also like feels very much like there's just all of humanity is also like singing it with me.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Yeah, nobody trusts anybody at some point, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And these defense mechanisms, trauma responses that have developed. I recently watched The Wisdom of Trauma, like Gabor Mate's new movie, The Wisdom of Trauma. There is a wisdom to, these defense mechanisms
are protecting yourself.
Defending from something.
Yeah.
And to simultaneously recognize, well, what is there to be, what is the danger? Are there other ways to protect myself? Well, one is to assert my truth, like in this song. But I think that's a key part of it too. There's no like, oh, stupid trauma response.
Yeah.
Obviously that's, there's an honoring of the trauma response, yeah. The wisdom of it. Again, we've kind of given with the demons that are introduced in Act 1, Scene 1. I like that we've given them characters, because when we're acknowledging the wisdom of these demons, like we're cultivating a relationship with them, and they transform the we that is me and the demons transforms as well. But I thought it was really significant that you said, I believe that we're essentially good. But that's very key. We began Act 1, Scene 1 talking about belief systems and then feelings. And certain belief systems can get in the way of going to the place where the transformation can happen. But having come back from the transformation, you have a belief that we're essentially good. That's a pretty major thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you always believed that? Is that a belief that we were talking about honoring certain aspects of ourselves? Is that something that you cultivate, that you choose to, like maybe that's that very belief that we're essentially good? Is that kind of the flame that we were talking metaphorically about kindling, keeping this flame?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a core flame to this album, but I do believe that most humans are intrinsically good, and I don't know if this is true, but it's my belief that your circumstances really shape who you are and the choices that you make. Like, if someone doesn't have, wasn't born into privilege or wasn't born into a life where they had food stability, of course it makes sense to me, and I think they're still good people if they steal groceries from Target or steal clothes or whatever they need. That doesn't mean they're a bad person.
Yeah. The basic needs are not being met.
Yeah.
It's the hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, and there's also so much more than just the basic physical needs. Everyone also needs love and health and safety and all these feelings of security, which I think not many people get, no matter your economic background.
Right.
And those also shape who you are as a person.
So, and once you recognize all of that more, then it's natural we find ourselves, there's less judging and shaming of the person who, well, that's not very loving. This person doesn't have much esteem for other people or for themselves. We, rather than deciding we have the good bad belief system, love is good, trust is good, caring for people is good. It's impossible to end up judging and shaming the person who we witness. It becomes less and less possible to be judged, to default to judging and shaming them.
Yeah.
If we understand with this pyramid.
Yeah. And it's one thing to understand that and to be cool, I can see how you might be making these decisions, which I think are bad and incorrect.
Yeah.
While also understanding that doesn't excuse you.
Absolutely, yeah.
From making those behaviors.
So accountability is key. I think it's important to highlight accountability.
Yes.
But accountability is present in this song when you're accounting for, in a positive way, in a good way, taking an account of your genuine thoughts and feelings, owning the not trusting, and experiencing that that's empowering. So the person who is completely avoiding accountability and so locked into dealing with these necessary demons, so locked into keeping them at bay and not dealing with them. There's, the accountability is like a medicine, it's transformative.
Yeah.
And this journey kind of reflects that. So,
both an internal medicine and a community medicine. Accountability is, I think, how the whole world can grow together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can, this is part of the pattern here with here I am engaging in the toxic dynamic. Here I am being manipulative. Here I am being manipulated. Here I am you know, this is a garbage thing that I did. Just there.
Yeah.
The record is demonstrating what accountability can be and how accountability can be empowering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In terms of the conversation about belief and knowing that began in Act 1, Scene 1,
Mm-hmm.
By the end of Trust No Man, of course, the downside to owning I don't trust anyone, the song ends, now I know not to take anybody's hand but mine. We arrive at this place of knowing, whereas, and back, potentially, this could be just circling back to Act 1, Scene 1, I want to believe in anything, I want to feel anything but this. What does the record as a whole, given that by the end of therapy, I think I love you, I know I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're about to arrive at Act 5, Scene 3, which is I love you, do you have any more reflections on thinking, knowing, not knowing, changing the relationship with the belief system, changing the nature of the belief system, through allowing oneself to feel things, thinking, knowing, not knowing, believing. The record seems to be recognizing how we arrive at these points where we say, I know this, I think this. Actually, I don't think this, I know this. And then I believe this, or do I believe that? And then enter in the place of not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that's been going on.
Yeah.
Could you reflect on it?
Yeah, and I think that that's just going to keep changing in life and for everyone. Like what you said, like now I know not to take anybody's hand but mine. Like that was what I really believed at the time that I wrote this song.
You knew that.
I knew that,
Yeah,
and I
just
was
like
like,
at the
this
end.
feels strong, this feels safe, like I'm proud of myself, I can like stand on my own and like depend on myself.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a place in my life where I don't believe that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This album too is kind of, while it's saying all these big truths, these things that's like now part of the credo of like, I know this, I believe this.
Because I have experienced
Because
this.
I've experienced this. I think I love you kind of flips that around again. Instead of saying like, I know I love you, it's all about like, I want to try this thing. Like I want to believe, like I want to try, like, yeah, I want to do these things that are not definite and unsure and like I don't know for certain. I think that kind of starts that cycle over again of like, I'm not done growing and changing, and that's always going to be something that kind of like I noticed I was just making this circular motion with my hand, but like, yeah, it's all a wheel. We just keep going around this wheel, and hopefully each time the wheel gets shinier and smoother and nicer and like more of who we want to be in the world.
Yeah. Every new beginning is another new beginning's end.
Yeah.
You know? It's the end of a particular drama, and there is, whereas there was legitimate, or very warranted trepidation about connecting with someone else and forming a we and us at the beginning, now there is warranted hope that this we us could go roller skating again. That seems pleasant, you know. That seems compatible with the growth that's happened individually. I want to try. There's been, I love that you're highlighting that we start with I want to believe, and then we've cultivated some new beliefs and some new visceral embodied knowing, and then being where we are, meeting ourselves where we are now, then we have enough kind of beliefs, belief in self, belief in the nature of how trust works, what love is. We have a belief system from which we can now, new things are possible. writing more prayerful songs with a new level of like intention, and the trying with you, I think, is key, because in I Make You Want Me, we're trying on our own to make something specific happen.
Yeah.
And we're kind of at odds with reality, with that, like, just me on my own trying to make someone feel and think something.
Yeah.
Whereas now, let's try. I'm willing to show up. I mean it when I say that I'm willing to show up and try. Not to make you, but with you.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that is key, and that's obviously the beginning. That's Act 1, Scene 1 of the next record.
Yeah.